Welcome to Trade Show News Network's Executive Spotlight Series, where we bring you conversations with the most influential leaders shaping the exhibition industry today. I'm Danica Tormohlen, and today we're thrilled to welcome a true powerhouse in the trade show world who has transformed one of North America's most important industry events. Laura Van Zeyl currently serves as Vice President of Marketing for Lightovation at Dallas Market Center, but her impact on the lighting industry extends far beyond her current role. For over 15 years, Laura has been instrumental in building Lightovation into what is today North America's largest residential lighting trade show, bringing together thousands of retailers, designers, and manufacturers twice yearly. Before joining Dallas Market Center in 2016, Laura established herself as a respected voice in the industry as publisher and editorial director of Residential Lighting magazine. This unique background, combining deep editorial expertise with event leadership, has informed her innovative approach to growing both Lightovation and the newer ArcLight Summit for commercial lighting. Under Laura's leadership, Lightovation has consistently evolved to meet industry needs, introducing groundbreaking initiatives like the Metaverse Lighting Trend House, the Light Stars program for emerging professionals, and specialized programming for interior designers. The January 2025 show welcomed a record number of first-time and international attendees, demonstrating the event's continued growth and global influence. Today, we'll explore Laura's journey in the exhibition industry and the strategies behind Lightovation's success and her vision for the future of trade events in the lighting sector. Please join me in welcoming Laura Van Zeyl. Hi, Laura.
Thank you. Hi.
You just also finished your June event. I think it would be interesting to get started with a little bit about that since that is fresh. So give us a snapshot of this year's event, or this summer's event anyway.
Yeah, so our June edition of Lightovation, which occurs each January and June at the Dallas Market Center, one of the highlights for that show was the introduction of a Design Plus Build Day. We had been having some success engaging interior designers looking for lighting with an interior designer preview day that we've been doing for a couple of years. And as our audience is expanding to some additional channels that are also trade professionals, such as architects or lighting specifiers, we decided to broaden that day to encompass those professionals as well. So we had some dedicated programming featuring experts from Gensler on the future of hospitality design. So not even focused on residential, which has historically been our focus. We're the primary buying event for retail lighting showrooms. We are known for decorative lighting and residential lighting, but we also have categories that cross over into commercial markets and other environments as well. We also had panels of lighting designers talking about how different trades can work with lighting design professionals to optimize the lighting in their environments. So as well as doing tours, because we recognize that those channels have not necessarily historically attended Lightovation. So if the show was new to them, we wanted to give them guided tours and lay of the land so that they could make the most out of their experience at the show. And it was very successful.
So show floor tours.
Correct. And we're unique in that we're not really an exhibit trade show floor traditionally. So we're a market center. So we're like a shopping mall for wholesale categories, a variety of consumer goods. I'm focused on our lighting events. So there's about 1 million square feet of exhibits that are permanently leased by our exhibitors. So they're not booths, they're showrooms. And so these are unique environments for the lighting industry. There isn't another lighting market. There are other markets in the home furnishings industry, which obviously lighting crosses into as well. But it's unique to have a lighting show be showcased in that kind of a format. So that is eye-opening as well for these new channels who are used to going to trade shows. And certainly there can be very elaborate booths at trade shows. Some of those are hundreds of thousands of dollars and very impressive, but there's something about a permanent environment, that some of the in situ environments that you can create in a showroom that are unique.
Do you have temporary exhibits as part of that as well?
Not as part of Lightovation. Lightovation is all permanent exhibits, but our ArcLight Summit event that we launched 5 years ago takes place each September. That has traditional trade show booths, and those are intentionally kept fairly simple and straightforward, just 10 by 10s, both to make the setup experience easier and then make the exhibits more digestible for those attendees who are more commercial lighting designers, architects, more commercial interior designers. It takes place during our Dallas Design Week events. There's already a core of interior designers attending for that. And now this is another way that we engage with trade professionals on more the commercial lighting side. Some of our Lightovation exhibitors cross over into that, but the majority of ArcLight Summit exhibitors are just there for that show because they're not residential at all.
Since they are permanent showrooms, so how does it work for the show days? What makes it different than the permanent showroom days?
Yeah, and we are an open daily design center. So we're getting about 3,000 interior designers coming every month outside of our show dates. But then when the show is going on, that's when the new product introductions are all in place and on display. And the principals of the company are there to interact with attendees, and all of their sales representatives for whatever territory that they're in are there to help the people who are all there at the same time. So it's when the whole industry is there all together and can all engage and interact with each other during the show dates. Throughout the year, many of the showrooms at Dallas Market Center have showroom managers. They're open every day. On our lighting exhibits, because historically that was not the case, they didn't even always sell to designers. They were just exclusively through the retail lighting showroom channel. But now that there's more interest in other channels wanting to purchase and specify those products, we have a lighting concierge that we have hired to enable access to any exhibits that are not open every day already themselves. So if they want to give him a key so that a designer or a builder or somebody who wants to come outside of our show dates, particularly in the local market, but it actually does draw even from Florida or Southeast, designers are coming in to come on a project basis when they have a need. And so we have a lighting concierge, Arturo Malloy, who can help them with those selections because he's got a lighting background himself. So he can even know, oh, you're looking for something in particular style or a particular solution for a room or for an environment. Like he knows what brands would have those solutions. And then he passes that lead along to the manufacturer for actual fulfillment.
So when you said so the design and build, so you were able to attract a new audience basically beyond the residential.
Correct. And we're going to be repeating that for our January show. Instead of doing it at the beginning or prior to the show starting, we're going to do it on the last day of the show, the Design Plus Build Day in January 13th.
We had a call last week, and one of the things that we talked about and I want to address here is some of the impacts currently that might be challenging lighting as well as just about every other trade show in the industry, anything that is impacted at all by tariffs. So talk a little bit just about where your industry is at in terms of impacts from tariffs.
Yeah, and things have not settled there, right? So there's still a lot of speculation and uncertainty in that area. Quite a bit of manufacturing of lighting takes place in China, and some of that is unavoidable, and some of that, some people have found some other resources for certain aspects of their manufacturing, but there's going to be some degree of at least parts coming from China for lighting, just from the nature of that product. So that's going to continue to have impact until that settles. One thing that I've observed is that because the lighting industry is very much a community, I mean, there are family businesses that have been doing business together for generations. There's a lot more of a collaborative, we're in this together, the spirit, and an understanding that is helping to get all of these businesses through uncertain times in their partnerships, and really seeing those as partnerships so that they can sustain together and everybody comes out profitably. One other thing that obviously has had a tremendous impact, there's quite a bit of our attendance and even some of our exhibitor base that's international or coming from Canada in particular. Uncertainty relating to even travel or discomfort with coming to the United States at the moment, or hostilities, has affected people's willingness to come to an in-person trade show. Again, the partnerships and the opportunity to meet with their exhibitor partners in an efficient way, like you can do at a trade show, still kept a lot of those attendees coming, but we did miss some of them in June as a result of kind of the uncertainty going on right now.
And is there anything that Dallas Market Center or you personally, or how do you advise or help exhibitors or attendees to deal with those things and share them, give them ideas for strategizing their own businesses?
Something that we've been doing is being very proactive ourselves in terms of trying to help the industry. And that's been on a lot of fronts. And I think something about us being a private company allows us to be a bit more vocal and maybe nimble in that area. We had a petition prior to the pause on Chinese tariffs that did ultimately end up happening. We engaged business leaders in all the industries that we served, including lighting, to sign a petition to lobby for a 90-day pause on tariffs, which would get our industries through the critical holiday season. Now that's coming to an end soon, but at least it took away some of the uncertainty of the summer buying season that was so critical. We've also signed on to some lawsuits for the legality of some of the tariffs that are standing to hurt our industries, to engage in that way and leverage relationships that we have with associations and with elected officials themselves to lobby on behalf of the industries that we serve. So really being an advocate, and we've layered that into our mission. And in addition to connecting buyers and sellers, and like any trade show does, is really taking an active role in helping in areas where we could make a difference.
That's very proactive. That's great to know that you're doing that. I had no idea, so I hadn't seen that. So really proactive for your industry and the other industries that Dallas Market Center serves. So let's step back. I read your bio when we started out. So you've had a variety of different positions within Dallas Market Center. You've done leasing and attendance and now marketing. So talk a little bit about this diverse background that you have and how it's kind of shaped your approach to growing Lightovation.
Yeah, there are definitely parallels between the publishing world and the trade show world that I didn't recognize immediately, but once they clicked, it really helped a lot in terms of leveraging my background, that at least I knew the industry and the players in the industry. My exhibitors were my advertisers, my attendees were my readers. We're providing content of a sort and making that festival for attendees, as well as providing programming that's also a form of content. And then how that experience unfolds, like how they might flip through a magazine or engage with other media. They're also engaging with the activations that we're showcasing on site, whether it's our Metaverse Trend House or even a more standard presentation or panel going on or tour.
Yeah, I can relate for sure, having my publishing background too. So tell me about that Metaverse Lighting Trend House. Describe that for us.
We had been doing trend displays featuring that is exhibited at our show in a context of these are the hot colors, these are the hot materials, maybe even an overarching theme. We've been doing that for quite some time, and this was an innovative way to do that also highlighted some of the emerging technologies. Like we actually created a home. We worked with Annalie Waterman, who is a virtual architect, an architect in real life as well, but has created this specialty around virtual environments. So we used the spatial platform to create a house And then the furnishings that weren't lighting were virtually created. So that was a kind of an AI example showing that technology. And then we've got 3D renderings from our exhibitors of products that we felt fit. We work with a designer to curate that around current trends. And so that the rooms had this lighting to scale in these environments. And you could engage with it in two different ways. You could go into the metaverse like as an avatar, almost like a video game in terms of how you'd explore. And you could be in that space with somebody else, which we thought was an interesting opportunity for both our exhibitors and our attendees, because they could use that. They had the link, they could do that even outside of our show, even if we were showing them how to do it at the show and teaching them about it. And then there was also just a virtual reality where it's hyper realistic and a first person view of exploring this environment on
With
your
like
own.
goggles on and stuff. Is that what you
Yes.
mean?
So
Like either
and you could
on your
and you
desktop or with the goggles.
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could do it with the goggles, and then it was truly like you were in the space having that sensation physically, or you could do it on a desktop and explore it. And by using your keyboard to advance or moving around, looking around. The products could also be isolated in an augmented reality format so that you could grab a fixture and then place it in your environment that you were seeing in scale and in the right proportions as well as the right context. If it was a sconce, it appeared on the wall. If it was a hanging fixture, it would hang in that environment. We wanted to make a playground for both our attendees and exhibitors who were hearing about these technologies and maybe wondering how they might apply to them. This was something that we invested in so that they could do that before they made any investments, because maybe this aspect would have relevance, but this aspect would not. But this way they could try it all out. It was something that was very eye-opening for people, very engaging. We created a space for this experience to happen, worked with a local company who had expertise and could be their Sherpas to the experience if they had never worn a VR headset before, or even how or what they could do. Leslie Carruthers, who is a digital marketing expert, really led the way and led some sessions so that people could understand how this would apply to their business, to connect the dots there instead of just, this is just gee whiz
Something
technology.
fun.
And
Yeah.
yeah.
How did you land in the lighting industry in the first place? And then what's made you stick around?
So Residential Lighting Magazine was my first job
Yeah.
out of college. I went to journalism school at Northwestern, and my family lived in Dallas. And so I graduated and then had interviewed at a publishing company in Chicago where one of their magazines was Residential Lighting. It wasn't even the one that I had interviewed with. And when I got home to Dallas, I'd learned that I was being offered this position as assistant editor on residential lighting. And oh, there's a big trade show in Dallas in a week or two. So just stay down there, and your first day on the job will be at the Dallas Market Center. Interesting turn of events that I eventually landed there. But as I mentioned, it's really a community. People welcomed me in, and even as the styles might have not been as groundbreaking when I started in the industry, I think there were two finishes, brass and verdigris, and now the design possibilities are endless with the advent of LED technology, and things have gotten much more advanced, both aesthetically as well as on the technology side. So that's been very exciting. But really, the people have kept me engaged with this industry. And having a robust trade event at the heart of it, I think really makes a difference too, because then there's a forum for people to stay connected, almost like going to camp for everybody.
What a full circle moment that you started like your first day at Dallas Market Center.
I think I still have my badge from
I
that.
have all my old badges too. That's funny. What's your favorite light? Like for instance, in your own like home. Do you have a favorite one?
Oh my gosh, is that having a favorite child
Yeah.
a little bit? I don't want to name names, but I definitely have a show-stopping dining room fixture that you can see from our front window and looks like a piece of art. And that's something definitely with where our dining room is and that it can be seen through a window from the outside, like where to definitely invest, like in terms of something aesthetic.
I just was curious because I figured that you probably had some cool lighting in your house. I didn't mean for you to name the manufacturer or anything like that. Since you are VP of marketing, I want to talk to you a little bit about what is working now for you in terms of marketing. Like, what are some of the things in 2025 that you're deploying that maybe some other people who might be listening to this too, other organizers might learn from some of your best practices that you've learned?
We've got a few things going on that have really made a difference. Something very basic marketing wise that I feel like we get the most kind of bang for our buck and can use in a lot of different ways are custom e-blasts. It's not necessarily earth shattering as we've engaged with some new media partners or associations going after new audiences. That's something that both we can track the metrics and the success in terms of the numbers, but also I've been able to point to individual attendees who have come as a result of those efforts. Whereas even if we might be doing some social media efforts or things to supplement that and enhance that, because that can help to underscore what you might be doing on the e-blast side. So that's not the only thing they're seeing, but the e-blasts are definitely something measurable that we can point to. We got this specific result, not just numerically, but actual bodies coming to the show. And then the other thing, of course, is partnerships, getting partners that are in areas that you're trying to enhance and grow. Different associations in new channels for us have been critical because it not only does that lend some cachet to us as we're then trying to make inroads with a new group, but also like they can connect us with the exact people that might have the most relevance because they know their audience and they know that they aren't interested in this or that about our show or about our industry. Conveniently, lighting is something that's very exciting right now. So there are a lot of channels that are recognizing the importance, both from an aesthetic standpoint, but also like even a human health standpoint right now, how lighting is affecting you in ways physically and your sleep and your alertness. I think there's more awareness of that. So people wanting to be educated on that and also have the best products to fulfill their projects.
So custom e-blasts, I'm hearing with media partners, and then also partnerships in terms of, you said associations and other people in the industry, I'm assuming. So anything new in terms of partnerships or things that they're including, like that you're asking for or they're asking for, anything different, new, working this year?
So one thing, just observation, is engaging both on a national and a local level, like a chapter, it can be very important, especially for us as we're based in a place. We're not moving around from city to city. If we can get in with local chapters of associations, that's a relationship that's going to pay dividends beyond just the single event that we might be working with them initially on. But then also the national body of a group is also important, and maybe in tandem, like we're talking right now about building out full year plans for these associations that encompass both a national and a local component. And national associations are very interested in engaging with their local chapters as well. So it's a win to work that way.
That's a great point in terms of local and national, because I don't think people always think about that. So good point there. People have been talking all year really about community and then the value of community. You've touched on it a few times here today. I'm curious though, I've been hearing a lot about AI impacting SEO, right? Search engine optimization and click throughs when people, let's say they're typing in lighting show, and it just gives them a summary of lighting shows, but maybe they're not clicking through to your website. What are you seeing there and how are you dealing with it?
Oh, that's a big question. And a moving target too, because how
well, right now,
and people are figuring out even how to turn that feature off of their search engine too. So optimize for it, then it's like going to change also too.
True.
I wouldn't say that we have that piece completely figured out as far as, and I don't know, that does seem to be more of a consumer way that they might be finding a trade show. I don't feel like we're often found via search. Like we're often found word of mouth. They go to somebody in the know in that industry, a new company's coming out or a new business is starting and where do I go next? And whoever they're going to ask or wherever they're going to look, like we're going to come up in those search results, if you will, because we're really the only trade show for that particular product and industry
segment. You're lucky there. So it really hasn't had a noticeable impact from the Google AI generated. So,
right. That may be something more for our commercial lighting event that's still getting off the ground and still where people finding it organically that way could have, although that's been on a growth trajectory. So we don't see that hindering us yet, but would we be growing faster if that weren't in the way? I don't know.
Is there any ways that you're using AI right now in relation to marketing, and what's a tool that's working for you there?
We have some limitations internally on how we can use AI or chat GPT or even a meeting note taker because we don't necessarily want our information shared into that pool of generalized information that then feeds results to others. So we're very selective about where we do use that. It has been very helpful for some of our events, giving some fresh events that we have over and over again, how to give them a new spin or liven them up or call them something different. I think that's where it's been the most helpful and somewhat of a time saver. So you're not just pondering something for, at least it like gets that thought out so that yes or no, or sparked another idea and then on to the next thing so that we can spend our time optimizing the experience instead of belaboring what we're going to call something.
I got one more question for you. What are some opportunities and some things that you're excited about coming up?
So something that we're excited about for 2026 in general. So for ArcLight Summit, there were some exciting new partnerships that manifested as we've come into our own events, particularly the Texas Society of Architects came in as a partner. There's a major association of lighting designers, the International Association of Lighting Designers, that actually created a new Texas chapter. That's a new way for us to engage with attendees at that show. Our show floor continues to get bigger and bigger. In fact, we will probably have to put it in a new space in 2026. Just we're bursting at the seams in that regard on ArcLight Summit. And then that is actually somewhat of a feeder for new audiences to come to Lightovation as well, because that may be their gateway drug of how they discover what we've got. And even though the main show floor are temporary booths, we do have an event at the end of ArcLight Summit deliberately where people can explore participating permanent exhibitors as well. And that's where we really get them hooked because that's something that nobody else has.
It sounds like you've got some growth ahead. And I know, like you said, I love lighting and interior lighting and all my residential lighting. And it seems like it is a growing industry with lots of new technology and so many options today. So exciting times ahead. Thank you so much for your time today, Laura. Really appreciate you taking a few minutes to share your experience with our audience.
No problem. Thanks for having me.